I was super excited I got laid off. I remember I called all my friends and they were like, "What's wrong with you?" I was just like, because I already started mentoring people and creating content on the side. Finally, it happened. I always knew I wanted my own thing. I just never had the not in a position. I also totally ignorant about my mental health, my trauma stuff. My first client was very accidental, so I started making content first, and then so people started reaching out to me.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of the Top Mentor Podcast, and today we have Moon here, who is running their own business, helping coaches increase their income. So, hi Moon.
Hi, Victor.
I want to start, showing the people your story and your business. So, can you tell us, more about what you've been doing lately, and then we can share your story because I think it's a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, so the business I just started this year is more about helping early stage coaches set up their whole business. Basically, they have the coaching experience, but they need help on their sales, their marketing, their fulfillment streamlined. So that's my most recent business.
Okay, that's then, and I believe that it's going pretty well for you. But you have quite a story from you till you get to that point. So, as we talked about, you worked in Amazon some years from now, and you also worked on the ML AI sector. So, can you tell us more about why did you decide to move away from corporate to starting your own business, and what's been the main benefits from that?
I always knew I wanted my own thing. I just never had the not in a position. I also totally ignorant about my mental health, my trauma stuff, and constantly running away from my family to the US. So finally last year I was in a position where I'm comfortable. Like I was lucky enough to start my own thing finally.
Yeah, that's great. And I also to be able to stand there, you think there's your benefits about not being dependent on anybody, and now with the bad climate about layoffs, it's, I believe it's now a relief to be able to handle it your own. So, can you tell us more about your story, in general, like what's been your career and how did you evolve up until you creating your own business?
From where? I can take one step back. So before this business coaching business, I was mentoring and coaching and consulting as well around AI. But before that, I was a machine learning engineer. So how I got into it was when I was still so I came to the U.S. for a biology PhD program, uh, in molecular biology, and along the way I basically stumbled upon this machine learning. Oh, this is a huge, and I remember I think that's the second year when I just came to US. I still couldn't speak English and understand English in general. I just lolly feel stupid all the time. That I basically had the idea that I want to develop my own companion. And so from there, I started learning programming and finally AI stuff. And basically, those aspiration and experience and got me into AI after my biology PhD, which I
Mhm.
didn't finish. Um, yeah, that worked in a startup. Then I worked at Amazon, and because why during the transition from a PhD student to AI software engineer,
Yeah.
I had like a half a year where I was just battling with depression, those kind of stuff, and I was in a place where when I was in depression, I was I just wished someone was there, have an observer to prove I still exist. So after I came out of the depression, I also had the idea I want to be there for someone that people can move forward. I can invite people out. Like
Mhm.
that kind of my aspiration started. Okay, helping people, having conversations going on that I stumbled upon. Okay, coaching is a thing. I started working as a coach.
Yeah, that's a very inspiring story about like why the motivation behind why do you start coaching and why do you start all of this from being an immigrant and from studying molecular biology to end up in coaching. So I wanted to ask you about like when you started mentoring or coaching, what did you struggle the most with, and also like what's been your evolution in that field?
I don't know if I can pinpoint a single thing. I guess just if I have to pinpoint a single thing, I think managing myself is the biggest blocker. Like without like those like that much knowledge, like trained for this, I think that's like a constant struggle for entrepreneurs in general, right?
Yeah.
That's why like now I want to start doing business coaching. Like I dedicated time in like helping people with how they understand themselves and managing their performance. But anyway, so I think it's the biggest evolution like in my AI coaching or consulting is my understanding and my like ideal clients and the understanding of like coaching relationship and the structure like constantly evolving. And in the beginning, I didn't have the self-awareness to realize, oh, like why I enjoy working with certain type of people. And I constantly have like a lot of thoughts that are not helpful for me to be a coach. And I was just wasn't aware and constantly struggle. Like I felt I did the best. Like I tried my best to help people. Things just didn't work. And when you do things, do your best out of good intention and still like that frustration
Yeah.
but again, that's how you actually learn. That I see through like the evolution of the clients I attracted and helped, and that's very rewarding.
Regarding what we were talking before, is like after at the beginning you start to effort yourself in two three different ways and you don't find what you it works the most and you take a lot of effort, and then when it doesn't work you take it personally and it's like a lot of a struggle, and then you see that only when you are evolving you see better results with less effort and you become more efficient in that side. And I believe that can relate to software development, to helping others, and to any area in the field. It comes with practice, as whatever, making YouTube videos or whatsoever. You became better with practice. And so I want you to dive a little bit deep into maybe your area in your time in Amazon. It's like how did it went from where you were working and up until you worked there, and how that do you evaluate that experience?
It's a very good experience and a memory, and so when I just joined, so the reason I want to join big tech in general was like when I identify myself first as a AI engineer was I was looking for opportunity to work on large scale system and only like big tech, Amazon, I think Tesla, like that autonomous system, like have that scale. So I was very, very excited for that opportunity. At the same time, I was aware of like the bureaucracy, like the complexity of a large organization, which can be frustrating. Like, but at the same time, it's always like constantly balancing. Uh, yeah, a lot of good memory, and I also see like the turnover of a team is really high. So
Mhm.
you constantly kind of need to find a new meaning why you are doing what you are doing and manage your own, like don't burn out. Um, but I feel the people and the work are quite separated, right?
Yeah.
If you're really attached to the progress of the project, can be extremely frustrating because like when the AI developed like as a competitive like advantage for a business, they developed internally. So everything I learned before, like yeah, the concept is still apply, but none of the technology apply much.
Yeah.
So everything like that's unexpected. Um, but that's the point of that experience and the teamwork, like team activity, like those were amazing. So I think one thing I got the most shocked was the day layoff happened was like there was no notice or anything. I was like, "What's going on?" Then my coworker called me like, "Yeah, we were laid off." Like I just suddenly lost access. So that's the funny part. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's kind of a abrupt way to get the story. And yeah, go ahead. No, yeah, no, it's fine. So I wanted to ask about that transition from the layoff part. Like, what did went to your mind, and how did you manage to transition to your new like career?
I was honestly, I was super excited I got laid off. Like I remember I called all my friends and they were like, "What's wrong with you?" Like I was just like because I already started mentoring people and creating content
Mhm.
on the side. So I was just waiting for the opportunity. Finally, it happened, but at the same time, I still very struggled because I never actually had a business before, and at the same time, you can get a really good income by being a AI engineer. So it feels like I'm just like giving up all those income and doing this risky thing that like I have no idea if anything will work out. So I constantly going back and forth, but eventually like I know this like thing gonna happen. So basically like come to the piece, like committed to one thing, take action. Let's see where this goes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good advice, and it's also a sometimes people think that layoffs can be, and they are a very bad experience, but it depends on the moment on your life. It can be, you know, a salvatory thing, and they can allow you to experience some part that you wouldn't. Maybe you would be on your comfort zone forever, depending on the company, and you wouldn't experiment it what you have gone through.
Yeah, it's I honestly really glad it happened. Like it's kind of like this extra push. Like this
Yeah.
like this is a sign, go to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe that this relates to other topic that I wanted to discuss is kind of the side hustling, the personal branding part, these areas. So do you think that this is almost mandatory for anyone in any areas? And how do you think that previous experience that you do it through mentoring and through other side hustling helped you evolve your business quicker?
Yeah, I think not looking back, I realized like I like when I started mentoring, initially I didn't realize my numbers, my metrics are like way better than average numbers I saw on the same platform. And so I started thinking, okay, why is that? I realized one is my content, like so that has a personal branding part, but another side was because like my personal experience from my biology, like I don't have CS degree, I don't have work experience and transition, like that's really rare in the market, right? And also like overall, I like the general social trend is people live more and more holistically. Like it's not just like a ranking or like this is a career, go to the end, right? So I think that like a motivational side that like a managing this whole person, that story of myself really sold like
Mhm.
in this mentorship, in this coaching space. Um, and like more and more people they sign up like, oh, I read your story and really related to that. Like, if you can make this happen, maybe you can help me make this happen. Right. And then I realized, oh, yeah, this is very powerful. Like, kind of like when I lost like direction and trust in myself, then people come over, tell me you have value to help people. I was like, it's still so rewarding. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that that's why one of the reasons that I wanted to talk with you was when I read your story, and some of your posts online were great, and the story was like, what? And then I was like, okay, I have to interview this girl because I love the story, and it felt sometimes kind of random. It was like, what, like the points didn't
Yeah.
connect.
I realized this like I'm still working on it. Like for example, right now I actually feel really anxious because I had like a lot of like when people have trauma in early stage, like your personality tend to split, and your
Mhm.
logic and your view tend to split. And I wasn't aware. Like I just constantly working in that zone, so like my like speech can be very jumpy.
Yeah, yeah, and but also like the story itself, it was like, okay, a lot of things happened. I need to get the angle of what's going on and how did this all evolve happen. And now you tell me that you were blessed about layoffs, and I have seen other people getting laid off, and it was like, okay, that's not the real experience. So that's I believe that's an awesome story. So can you tell us about your maybe your clients or your customers? What you know any experiences that you could share that have helped you continue working on what you're doing, and also any success stories that you may share, because I believe that's also another side of the mentoring, of the coaching, that when you have a success story, it really reinforce you to keep going it.
Yeah. So the success story, the outcome can change along the way. Like they sign up, like want to AI engineer job, and sometimes they ended up like doing their own business and stuff. So yeah, yeah, help the people. There are like, for example, in the they either transition from like a data analyst to landed a job in as a machine learning engineer. Um, there are stories like those, and but what I find the most rewarding is I actually see their confidence, their like understanding of themselves, and that boosted. And like you can see, like they're just start shining in the in the sessions. The way like they know where they are going. That's the most rewarding part for me. And I was stupid. I never like recorded any like testimonial stuff. Like after like 100 clients, I was like, oh, I should do some testimonial. Sorry,
Yeah, I believe that.
I thought you also asked something else I missed.
No,
Okay.
I think well, I will follow up later. So that's also another topic about the testimonials. When all that people is on mentoring, and I realized before, like, okay, I can ask for reviews, and that will be good for me in future. Like that would be helpful. And it was like the 10th or mentee. It was like, I will ask you for a review if you can. Please. That would be really helpful. And I believe in testimonials as well. Now the next business or the next idea you do have, then you will ask for testimonials even before.
Yeah. I one thing I really enjoyed was like the Mental Cruise platform like bring very diverse clientele. Like I have people who kind of like technical trying to get more AI who like never coded before, or who are like still student, or who are like just finished the PhD and trying to get into a professor, but like they want to publish paper using AI. Or I have like engineer director in big company, and they want to like transition more to AI. And we started working together in the beginning for his like transition career stuff. Eventually, 3 months he was like, I want my own thing. Let's grow my like personal brand. I was like, yeah, I'm excited. So it's really fun. Like all kind, like see different people, and like basically, I feel like I'm way more connected to the world through the people I worked with. And like each time I say something, I share something with them, that later on I realize, oh, I need to say and do the same thing for myself. It's like every session I can feel like by helping others, I'm like literally helping myself. And
Yeah.
that just feels so complete.
Yeah, I mean that's like the closest the circle. It help. It also incentivates you to continue doing it, and you do it for yourself. You do it for others. And I believe for my case, it's for example talking to different people. Because I believe that there are so many stories not untold, but you can learn a lot from people that you don't even know, and you see online, and there are a lot of experiences that you never get to know. Not having a simple conversation, you get to know people that are awesome, and you didn't think about how this girl. I was talking
Like
with a girl
all
that was, yeah,
yeah, all kinds of people. And it's just I always get amazed how much I learn from my clients. And
yeah.
sometimes I feel like I should pay you.
That's something that happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
you learn a lot from people, and when I have guests in the podcast, like, how did manage to do that? It's like having a girl working at Meta recently and having a kid at the same time, and then it was like, you're top. the leadership, having a kid on a company that is top in the industry is like, how do you manage to do that? I don't, I'm not able to manage myself. So how is that going on? So on that topic about customers and that stuff, and what the story you mentioned about the AI, the leadership guy, is that for people that maybe are senior or advancing in their careers, or not, but they are thinking about running their own thing, building some personal brand or some consultancy or any other type of service. What advice could you give to them, for now, especially in the terms of the content and the AI tab, and how they should, do this transition towards from corporate to doing their own thing nowadays?
Uh, I mean, there will always be infinite choices you can make. I think the I guess two blockers I see most common is this is like the route I went through. I kind of like wasting the most energy is like you are always your biggest blocker. Like the more you can understand yourself, that's how you connect with others, understand others. Like that investment is always worth it. So I think that's the biggest part. Like, always draw the insight from yourself and just apply that to into your business. And the second common mistakes I have seen a lot was like because especially like for knowledge worker, for like very intelligent people, because we tend to think so much, we get ahead. Like you happen to do step A, and people are calculating step XYZ, right? And they just like paralyzed, and they wouldn't like because like when you have a corporate job, you kind of have the structure given to you, and now you have all the freedom. You're constantly in that chaos. You need to decide, okay, what is the structure that works for my specific situation, and then you're gonna expose all the problem.
Yeah.
I guess like give yourself as much as self care, love, and like start noticing your strength and weakness and work around that, and just accept and keep moving forward where you are at in each piece of you. um I think that's the most helpful part, and really just like connect with people and learn from others, and constantly integrate what you learned.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you're asking. I feel that's like
Yeah.
very general.
No, that's great, and I will dive deeper on that. Like, try to, you will have to acknowledge that the first things or the first tries that you're going to do will be the worst ones, and that's the worst version of yourself in if you keep running on the long run. So if you, the first video that you upload or the first client, it will be the one that it will get the most difficult on your side. You won't be able, even though you could get harder ones later, but you will struggle the most at the very beginning, and then everything will be easier later on, even though the problems will be more complex. And
Right.
that's something that you need to acknowledge, and that's it. That's what I've been, learning from in running the podcast or whatever, and or doing the mentorship. Like, okay, the first one will be the hardest one. Acknowledge that, and then progress will become with practice. So I believe that when running your own business is the most, frightening thing is the very beginning. Like, I don't know if this is going to be great, if I'm going to ruin myself or whatever. But then you will learn a lot of things in the progress.
Yeah, one thing, again, my thoughts are very jumpy right now. Yeah, you start, it's kind of like a system design in machine learning. You start noticing,
Mm,
oh, those decisions, they need to be balanced. Like what are how different factors are connected. Now when you're running business, especially in the early stage, it's static. You can't really see how things are connected. You just like, okay, what's the order? But once it starts running, you can see things. It's just a very different view. Um, there was something else I forgot again. Never mind, I forgot.
okay. So I wanted to, on the same topic, like for getting your first clients and building that relationships. I also believe, and I don't know if you can relate that successful business relationships or successful customers that you will get for your business will be built on relationship itself, especially if you are not, um, you know, app or whatever you are delivering services to people. So I believe that people connections and people relationship and cultivating those are great for individual entrepreneur. And so I don't know if how can you relate about that on your business, and how did you started, getting your first client and dealing with that.
My first client was very accidental. So I started making content first, and then so people started reaching out to me asking about like AI career. And I started getting too many requests that initially it was really a excuse to not have those meetings. At
Hmm.
least my profile on the platform, then it, like okay, then people still waiting. Okay, I'm gonna pay you so we can talk. I started doing that way. That's how I got it. I think the general, this is kind of like the idea I forgot in our last part was like started noticing the continuation of different, like, because like when we were in school or in corporate, like there are boxes, you have like a clear classification of things. But when you run business, you start noticing how things are transit, how things are connecting. And it's those like subtle like observation like give you opportunity of where to move on.
Yeah, and then that's like it's pretty. When you're running your business is like a lot of small details and a lot of things that you have to be aware of. Then you never know. You are kind of overwhelmed about. Okay, I will have to. Should I create more content or should I talk to people? Should I have cold emails or should I
And
talk? Yeah.
yeah, and in the beginning, you always like there's the market data, how what works in market, but what works for you, and that's a constant tension you need to like manifest into detail of the reality to commit to.
Yeah, and being able to identify, okay, I should focus on this so I can build more clients, or should I need more clients, or should I need higher paying clients and less clients for me because maybe the volume will decrease the quality. For example, in mentoring is something that could happen. Like you have your limits and your schedule, and you are on your own. So the only thing that you can progress in terms of money is charging more. So you have to become better on yourself to charge more. So you have a high paying client. So that's like an evolving step. And then if you do like, okay, I can deal with 20 people. No. Uh, You cannot
You
horizontally scale like Kubernetes. So
you can because like you can develop your like group coaching program.
yeah.
Like you always have like those options you can choose from.
Yeah, that's also another path that you can leverage, like doing cohort courses or courses. Recorded itself is like another format, but personals, they could be like one to one, and they have a limit. You are your own, and then you can expand to, you should expand to other areas. Um, so I want to ask you, yes, for not taking more of your time. Is for people that are thinking about uh, mentoring, or people that are thinking about helping others, like and at the very beginning, what do you think it would be your advice for that, depending on the field? And yeah, what do you tell them to people that are maybe on big techs, and they say don't have time, maybe that's not beneficial for me? So what would you tell them?
Definitely put yourself out there. Like I started by sharing my study notes and I was just like basically holding myself accountable publicly. Then you will start noticing, okay, what people, what like interaction you attract. And when you attract enough, and then you will see pattern and have the idea of like your, uh, like in programming, you fail forward. Like
Mhm.
the only way you're gonna figure out is you have to fail. Like that's just like get very comfortable with that. But like at the same time, like being trying to be thoughtful, like whatever your current understanding is, like trying to balance those. Like basically, you have speed, you have like the momentum, but at the same
Mhm.
time, you kind of because if you just like do the speed or like do quantity or do what other people tell you to do, and without like putting your own thoughts and heart into it, like you're gonna be disengaged and kind of like you kind of know you are not doing your best, and you get bored after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that a personal balance is interesting.
Yeah. That's a very good insight. And yeah, getting yourself out there, fail forward is like there is no problem in failing. You will learn a lot.
Yeah,
And
especially that's the advantage when you just start it small. No one gonna notice you, right?
yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah,
Literally, nobody cares. We have all this feeling of failure, but the only feeling that we are hiding from ourselves. That's what I believe. Like nobody cares about us more than ourselves. So
yeah. Like I kind of see like putting yourself as a way like you kind of like explore yourself that way. Like basically, okay, if I know people gonna attack me or criticize me, but I still want to stick to this, that means oh that is your thing.
yeah,
Oh,
that's for. Mhm. Go ahead.
Um, yeah, I think I do think like the personal development side like is way more than like the money or like the measurable, the directly like observable side is like it's really fulfilling inside.
And it will affect a lot of areas in your life. Like for example, in mentoring, I noticed that since I started, I am much more comfortable in customer meetings or dealing with different people, and dealing with less, being able to teach better to less experienced developers. So those are benefits from helping others and being able to stick to a program and to deal with difficult situations that from people that you get to help 1 hour, and then you have to do a lot of work in very intensive work in 1 hour. So that really transitions into your career more than maybe spending more time at your work, and that's something that wouldn't learn otherwise.
Yeah, you become so much more comfortable like being yourself. And yeah, I can't really imagine what else can be more rewarding than that.
Totally. And you became you know talking to people, and because a lot of when you progress, especially, all a lot of decisions is dealing with relationships, cultivating relationships, being able to communicate better, and not like doing, some will be like doing the latest of the latest development, but other, especially on leadership, is like doing who to talk, how to talk it, how to deliver the message, and that's only for from those type of
Yeah, you
of works.
synthesize like technology advancing, but the humanity, the like the language, like those are ancient, right? That contrast is really interesting.
Yeah, that's, and also people in tech tend to forget about that, and then when you start working on those after you develop in your career, it's like, okay, this give me a lot of advantage from other people, and it's a lot of it provides a lot of help in developing myself in the company.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to wrap up, I want to let the audience know, what you are doing and where they can find you. So yeah, the floor is yours.
My LinkedIn, my YouTube, I share all the my personal experience tips for you to bootstrap your first online business. My goal is really to take care of the financial side, the business side of your first business, which is kind of really similar for like a different service-based
Yeah,
relationship to business, so that you can really focus on the craft, like your relationship with your clients. Yeah, on LinkedIn or YouTube.
yeah, I will post all the links in the description and in the social media. So Moon, thanks a lot for being in the podcast. It's been great, and I think you have quite an interesting episode that you have built. So again, thanks a lot, and I hope that the business goes great.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you. I had a good time.